The collection of 366 days that is known as 2016 is now over. I figured I'd mention some of my favorite video game releases of the year and why I like them. Ports or remakes where the original game came out prior to 2016 count as well, and so do major updates to games. No reason to make this list too strict. Some of the games I've done videos about, some not. Alright, let's start. SunRun Kagura Estival Versus for PS4 and Vita. I got this for the PS4 and I think this is the point where SunRun Kagura became a refined experience. It's a beat 'em up sort of thing with lots of fan service, and the best thing is that it runs at 60 frames per second and controls feel really fluid. There are tons of characters to choose from with different battle styles, yet it's easy to pick up and get into. Its fan service based humor ensures things stay lighthearted throughout. Speaking of fan service, there's a ton of different outfits and accessories you can choose from to customize every character with. I reviewed Estival Versus earlier in the year, and you can look at that video here. Speaking of SunRun Kagura, the previous game, Shinobi Versus, was ported to the PC this year also. It's not as good looking as Estival Versus because it's a Vita port. Notice all the low-res textures. But gameplay is really good, especially compared to the Vita, where 60 frames per second just isn't a possibility with this game. I would recommend you play this game before Estival Versus if you want to follow the story. Pokemon Sun and Moon for the Nintendo 3DS. The first Gen 7 games have finally been released, and there are some notable changes to the standard Pokemon formula. While I'm not exactly a fan of all of the changes, for example, I'm still a little unsure about the island challenges which replaced the gym battles. I think there are enough changes anyways to make it feel like a new experience. I haven't played either Sun or Moon long enough to really go into detail, but the main thing is that it feels different to other Pokemon games. It's familiar, but it's a new adventure. If you're one of those people who think that a lot of the Pokemon games have been too similar, then Sun and Moon might be worth looking into. As you progress through the game, you'll be introduced to many new little gameplay elements, which keeps things interesting. Mega Dimension Neptunia V2 for the PS4 and also PC. I think this game is to the Neptunia series just like how Estival Versus was to the SunRun Kagura series. Most areas of the game have been refined and improved. Graphics are better than ever, and it runs at 60 frames per second, both on PC and PS4. There actually isn't that much difference between either versions, which is a pleasant surprise. They both look and play almost identically. Music really improved as well. The amount of characters is great, and I thought the inclusion of adult Neptune was great. The English voice actor did an awesome job voicing both big and small Neptune. The only thing I don't like about Mega Dimension is friggin' Umio. Battlefield 1 for PC and PS4 and I guess the Xbox also. My favorite first-person shooters have always been from the Battlefield series. Battlefield 1942 was my favorite. I never liked the shift to modern times when it comes to shooters, but Battlefield 1 takes place during World War I, which is not something any mainstream FPS ever explored as far as I know. The single-player bit is alright, though there's too much focus on the US though. They came late into the war and didn't contribute that much anyway. Canada, who actually played a huge role in the war, remains out of focus, of course. These days, most military shooters put way too much effort into giving Americans patriotic erections for them to hang their flags off of. Is that really needed? Also, the game could have been much more historically interesting if there was more focus on non-allied countries. Every story has multiple sides after all, but that's not all that important because multiplayer is what these games are all about. Multiplayer is very good, though it plays mostly like previous Battlefield titles. The vehicles are very interesting and there's a lot of destructible environment, and the less sophisticated weaponry is more fun to use, I think, than all of the modern stuff. I have the PS4 version because that's what was gifted to me, but I would have infinitely preferred keyboard and mouse controls. That's how shooters should be played in my opinion, not with a controller. I think I will purchase the PC version eventually. I really can't stand the fact that I have to endure the most interesting mainstream shooter in years with a controller and lesser graphics. Also, I don't like the name. Just because Microsoft misnamed the Xbox 3 doesn't mean that you should do the same thing with your game, EA. Egal Gun for PS4, Vita, and PC. This game is ridiculous, which is exactly why I like it. It's a rail shooter, and you have to shoot girls with your pheromones until they collapse in pleasure. I mean, what kind of concept is that? This is one of those games that you'd never expect to be released outside of Japan, but it happened. Not only that, it came out on the PC not long after the initial PS4 release. Not bad. I prefer the PC version because you can use the mouse to aim, and I did a review of it. When I say it, I mean the PS4 version, and I also did a comparison between the PS4 and PC version as well, and you can probably see that somewhere on the screen, I think. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD for the Wii U. It's a remake of the GameCube game of the same name. Not only does it look better, but it's the remake of the correct version. The Wii version was mirrored because Nintendo thought that having Link left-handed would confuse righties when it comes to the motion controls. If you have the Wii version, notice how everyone except Link is left-handed. The remake is pretty faithful to the original game, with only slight tweaks to make the game less frustrating. Also, there's amiibo integration and a new game mode called Cave of Shadows, which can be accessed with the Wolf Link and Midna amiibo. Some versions of this game came with that amiibo. This is one of my favorite Zelda games, and me and a friend had a great time playing through the entire game together, trying to find as many items and heart pieces as we could. Minecraft 1.11 update for the PC. This is a major patch for Minecraft, and the first one in a while to include new redstone items. Or a redstone item anyways. I'm actually really into Minecraft, so I thought this patch was pretty awesome. We've got new mobs, including illagers, which I actually think are terrifying. The new shulker boxes are pretty amazing, since they act like transportable chests, which don't spew their content when mined. You can use them as a backpack of sorts also. They are quite hard to get though. The new observer block is pretty awesome also. I'm not really an expert in redstone stuff, but some Minecraft YouTubers like Mumbo Jumbo, for example, came up with some pretty clever uses for them. There are many other additions to the game, like woodland mansions, and other stuff that I haven't even talked about, because there's so much. There's a lot of stuff to keep you busy with this update, that's for sure. That's one of the reasons I like Minecraft so much. It just keeps improving. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition for PC, PS4, and Xbox 3. I have the PC version, though console gamers who only got to experience Skyrim on a PS3 or Xbox 360 will see quite the improvement in graphics, even with just the PS4 and Xbox 3 versions. If you compare the original and the remake on the PC, there isn't that much of a difference, but I still think the graphical improvements are very noticeable. That being said, a lot of mods that worked on Old Rim, as it's sometimes referred to now, don't work with the remake. Skyrim's script extender is one of the big ones. Not only that, but it could be argued that with mods, you can make the original Skyrim look better than vanilla Skyrim Special Edition. Nevertheless, I'm still enjoying it. I got it for free anyways because I had the main game and then also all the DLC, so it was free on Steam, and free is a good price. And that's my list. Obviously, there are many other really good games that came out this year, but unfortunately I can't afford all of them or have time to play all of them. But if there are any other games that I haven't mentioned that you enjoyed, maybe let me know in the comments. I'm sure there's a good amount of stuff worth looking at. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in another video.